check, baby check, baby check. 1, 2. We'll be with you shortly. Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be with you in just a moment here. Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show called DYOR Live. On this day of brutality, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the sign up here. It says 101,610. The theme of the show today, which I programmed last night, says sub 100K Bitcoin. Was Bitcoin going to 95,000? And then this morning I say, maybe it's going to. And then as I launch the show, it's heading that way, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. Where is Dr. Pedro? I don't have him on the screen. Yeah, I'm just hitting all the wrong buttons. Oh no, you're not on. You don't have your camera on yet. But ladies and gentlemen, it is November 4th, 2025. And you know what's going to happen 1 year from now, ladies and gentlemen? 1 year from now, there's going to be an election. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The midterm elections are coming. And all of this greatness that's been happening in crypto is at risk of being wiped out. Elizabeth Warren could be back in charge of everything financial. She could be in charge of the Senate Banking Committee, and Maxine Waters could be back in charge of the House Financial Services Committee, and all of us are going to be relegated to the status of North Korea. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, unless we make sure all of these gains that we've made, not just in profits, but in policy and regulation, are codified into law. That's right. And I'm just kind of dragging this intro on here while I wait for Pedro to appear.
Oh, and it's great. I go right on, and then other times I just does not see device.
El no co deviso. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, while Pedro gets his camera together, look at this chart behind me. Look at this thing. It's going down. It's going down. It's going down. Is that a bad thing? Theme of the show today, as like I said, is sub 100K BTC. Is it okay? Is it okay if it goes down? Oh, you hear the thunder. The thunder from down under is going on right now. New lows, two daily lows approaching. We're gonna we're gonna hit under 100,000 today, I think. But is it a bad thing? Is it a bad thing? No, it's not a bad thing. Pedro and I talk about this all the time. If you're just a spot bag holder and you hold for the long term, none of this matters. None of it matters because you're holding for 250,000, 500,000, $1 million Bitcoin, whatever. Doesn't matter. But if you're a day trader and you're playing the market's ups and downs, this is the bonus day. Bonus day in which we get a little price volatility. The VIX will move. Well, the VIX as it applies to Bitcoin will move. You know, I haven't looked at what they're doing. I'll take a minute to do that here in a second. Let's. Pedro's coming on board here.
Trying to.
I
was talking.
There he goes. There's the man.
I was talking at the Breakfast Club, and we were just talking. I don't know. I was trying to simplify. That is like, dude, you know it's going to keep going until we hit that 101 area. So, like, it's like going to be like that every like 5 minutes. We're just dropping off the face of the earth here. Actually, we probably should see a reverse here, honestly. Like, yeah,
it's probably. I imagine there would be a big V reversal at some point or another.
Yeah, I'm looking at that 100,000, 101,000 area. So you get down to there, and then seeing it pop up. So
it's just
it is. Get enough already.
For those of you listening, wondering what the sound is that I'm having piped through, the website Fiat Leak. FIAT, as in fiat, your money. Leak has a great. It's what this thing is up here and drives the ticker down here. Shout out to I can't even remember his name. The guy that programs that site does a good job because it gives this thunder sound effect when you hit a new 24-hour low or high. So if you just leave it on in your headphones, and you might not hear it for a week. And then all of a sudden, kaboom! And you're like, oh,
in your face.
What's going to happen to me the other day during dinner? I'm just sitting there. I got my my cordless headphones on, just sitting there talking. And this is, well, how was your day? How was your day? All of a sudden, kabam! It's like I ran over that. I gotta go, honey.
That's epic, dude.
Oh, it's going nuts up here. I gotta imagine one of the spot markets is going nuts. I have Pedro. I had all microphone failure today. My normal clip-on microphone, the plastic thing shattered into a million pieces. Can't wear that. My big studio microphone, the USB box, not working properly, and so I had to run and find my old working at Wendy's headset here. Hello, how may I help you today? I'd like the spicy chicken and the frosty. Hello. Okay, that'll be $42.
Listen, you touch, you buy.
Welcome everybody to the show today.
If you come in, you need to make sure you buy the magazine. If you touch, you buy.
Now get out and never come back again. See you tomorrow.
Dude, I had a guy. I love this dude. This dude was so epic. I loved him to death, man. I was a foster kid, right? And so I would have a paper out. And my foster father would get me up and be like, all right, get up to your papers. And so we do paper outs and stuff like that. And when you're a kid, right, if you had a paper out, you always had money. You know what I'm saying? And
right,
so,
right.
And so I would go over before school would start, and I would get a donut. I loved apple fritters, right? And so he would have it, and he'd have it, and he'd literally know that I'm gonna come in. So it would be all warm with some glass of milk and stuff like that. And bro, it was funny because I remember coming in, and he would always be like, "If you touch, you buy." Because he was he's Indian, and I'd be like, I'll buy," and he'd be like, "Oh Pedro," and I loved it. Looking back now, he was so nice and kind to me.
Oh Pedro.
Oh Pedro.
You must give me 7 cents.
Pedro.
You owe me 7 cents.
Yeah. He was awesome, dude. I think it was like, how much was the fritter? I think there were 25 cents, and he would charge me like 10 cents. You know, he'd ask me like, how you doing? How are things? And I'd be like, oh, things are good. You know, it's like, how were the paper out? I was like, it was cold this morning. Or like, if it was cold, he would sometimes give me hot apple cider. You know, like,
yeah, he'd give you apple cider. Come on, little Pedro, come inside. It's okay. Bro, your mom doesn't mind.
Nah, he was cool, bro. This is, he was good. He was good. Wee's Donuts. And he would grow. Anyways.
My equivalent of that was a store in Connecticut in Ridgefield called Squashes. And it was it was the convenience magazine cigarette store right down in the center square of town. And it sold comic books. And I loved Spider-Man and Richie Rich comics. And my mom used to work down the street at a real estate agency down the street. And I would walk back from school, go see mom, and then go to Squashes and read the new Richie stuff. And it had all the delicious gum and all that type of stuff. And then the day they invented Bubblicious, the soft, chewy gum, not the gum.
No, yeah,
brittle
you put
stuff.
It back here. Yep.
Yeah. And oh man, those were the days. And every once in a while, the dude that ran the place was like some old dude from Staten Island who retired to Ridgefield. Would give me a pack of trading baseball cards. And I still have, to this day, piles of 1970s baseball cards from Squashes that are worth, some of them are worth like probably 20 cents.
20 cents?
I found this really rare one that I thought was rare. I was like, oh my God, this is so rare. It's a rookie card of Thurman Munson, former Yankee who crashed his Yankee catcher, crashed his private jet. And I'm like, this thing's got to be worth a couple $100. Nope, $1.63.
Really? What's a Ricky Henderson? I'm actually curious. A Ricky Henderson?
There's so many of them. They printed so many of them that's probably worth $1.
Curious. MVP Ricky Henderson.
There's a website that tells you them all, the prices and the last. And there's 50,000 of them. For every card you can think of, there's 50,000 of them listed. And everyone says it's not a fake, but then every comment says it's a fake.
Let's see right here. I'm curious.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show today. We have a talking doodly squad here. We're just watching the market implode above us here.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Ricky Henderson's official rookie card is the 1980 Topps 482, and it was value depends on heavily on condition. Upgraded copies often sell for 30 to 60, while high grade PSA 9S average around $1,800.
Oh, there's a whole racket here, Pedro.
$100,000 to $180,000.
You have to get your card certified before you can sell it from anything, and so you have to send it to these agencies that rake you over the coals to certify it, and then once you do that, then it's in the big leagues for sales. And if there's even like, when I bought baseball cards, they didn't come in plastic. In nitrogen-sealed containers and stuff. They came with a stick of gum in them and tons of sugar. Out there.
My buddy's dad, Chris Keck, 9 Ricky Henderson RBB cards that were top. And I remember Bucky Foster.
This off.
I hope that motherfucker still got. Anyways, sorry.
Whew. It's too much.
Do that still.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to hit 100,000. It's trading at.
Expect a jump. Expect that jump at 100,000. Looking, our spot is at 99. 99,815 is what we're looking at. So once we pass by that 100,000, coming down to our first liquidity area right here, zone. And so right below that, we also have that 98.
It's a brutal day out there. Bitcoin right now down 5%, Ethereum down 7%, XRP down 7%, BNB down 8%. BNB totally hit our trade. Not only did it hit our trade, it probably stopped us out. BNB trading at 915, Solana 154, Tron at 28, Doge at 15 cents. I mean, today is the day of long knives. It's the day of long knives, and the day my green screen is making my coffee cup disappear. Anyway, we have not participated at all in any sort of proper discussion today.
Yeah.
Although we've been entertaining ourselves quite well. Pedro,
yeah, dude, we're at 11. Not bad, man.
What the F is going on with Bitcoin? What is going on here? Like I said, I called the show earlier, and I made the thumbnail last night. I said sub 1,000 BK. I got the nice twins there on the screen here that holding up signs saying 95,000 coming soon. And then this morning, when I publish the show, the price starts doing that. And then as I'm getting closer to hitting the button to go live, the price is just going like this. I'm like, are we calling the market? Our 11 viewers, are they all market makers that are? Is CZ and Michael Saylor and all those big players watching our show right now just saying, God, geez, Pedro and Tom said this thing's going down. We better sell, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
and it seems, is it bouncing at your spot?
We'll see. We'll find out. But this is the area in which we're looking at. Like I said, really that 99, 100,000 area. That's a round number. That's where I would expect things to pop like it's hot, and really see some things get going. My biggest concern is that the young, they say the young, but the people who are still fairly new to crypto, who were in the profit, are going to sell their bags, and then just be done with crypto. That's my biggest fear. It's because I believe that crypto is really the only thing out there that is going to be able to really sustain the incoming catastrophe that's about to really happen here over the next 5 to 10 years. And I don't want them to sell their stuff. I want them to stay here, stay in this period. Don't get shaken out by the big banks.
Hold your bags, ladies and gentlemen. Hold them. Don't
really,
capitulate.
Yeah, that's where my biggest fear is that. It's because people don't realize that, having even 10%, 0.1%, even just having 0.1% of a Bitcoin is going to be such a big deal, and so at these $100,000 mark area, it's nothing. It's this. It seems like things are bad, but it's actually this is good. And so if you're in Aster, good time to pick up some more Aster, right? Aster selling off, right? The other things that we're looking for, if you got, because you're literally buying assets that are going to be able to hold indefinitely, right? At least for the next 100 years, while there's just a craziness that's happening right now. So crypto is one of those things that will allow you to be able to at least somewhat keep ahead of inflation, while things get really bad. They were talking last night about the huge, there's a huge layoff of a bunch of truckers. Why is it doing that? Just cool, and now it's not. Thought about getting a tattoo today.
No.
Side note.
A big one on your neck that says, I will never be employed again in my life. Just a nice one here. Maybe the tail comes up on the face.
Dude, I saw a doctor literally at the VA. Old timer. I didn't even realize it. Had a big old tat like right here. And he got long story short, something happened and he got burned. He got scar burns. And so he got a fat tattoo of like hell. Like it was his craziness.
I can see that.
Yeah. And I was like, I was like, the doctor, like literally, it was like one of those things. And so somebody had mentioned it to me. What happened? I said, besides circumstances like that, okay, I don't see the neck tattoo employment. I
just don't see it. You know, Pedro, it's one of those things where you're like, you meet them you're talking to someone at a cocktail party. You're like, hey, how you doing? And they got the big face tattoo and all this type of stuff. And you're like, pretty good. And you walk away and you're like, are the police here? They're going to arrest that guy? You know.
No,
or just
every face
or the person that just
had, nice.
There was a book. There was a book, Pedro, a Dr. Seuss book that all the kids in my era read. And it was called The Sneetches. And the Sneetches were the big yellow figures, and they had a machine that put a star on everyone's stomach. Stars on, stars off. And the cool people didn't have stars. Then the guy who's selling the machine that selling the stars, cool people all of a sudden had stars on their stomachs. And so everyone ran to get stars. And then all of a sudden the cool people went to the machine that took the stars off. And suddenly the cool people had the stars off. And then the other people raced to get the stars off. And then the cool people went back to the machine to get the stars on. And the cycle repeated endlessly. Stars on, stars off. And the book was talking about following fads and choosing wisely in your life. And I told my kids, I said, if you get the face and neck tattoo or the big boob thing across for my daughter, I said, you can just forget interacting with me forever. And I just dangled that over them like no father should ever do. It's the worst thing you can possibly do.
Yes.
Guess what?
Love is conditional.
Yes, it is when it deals with tattoos. And it worked. They do not have a single one. They resist. My son has been like, Dad, I wanted to get a big sleeve and all this type of stuff. Thank God I didn't, because my friends look like idiots. I'm like, yup.
Fashion.
It'll look cool for a while, and you'll look cool like the soldier or the police officer that shows up all tatted up for like a week. And then about 5 years from now, people will be like, that's one of them crazy people that didn't think right and got 79 vaccines in the head. I know, I shouldn't have said that, but I'm on a roll this morning. I've had a lot of coffee. I didn't sleep well last night. The missus isn't feeling well, so I was up. And I'm just on a roll this morning. And Bitcoin and everything's just dumping today, so making the markets fun. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this show right now, and that's a big if, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're watching this morning. It's the bottom of the hour, our first half hour of our daily 2-hour talk show here. We're coming to you on Rumble. We're coming to you on YouTube. We're coming to you on X, on Twitch, and somewhere else today that I can't. Oh, yeah, Facebook today. And I didn't manage to get the LinkedIn stream going up because they were bulky once again. But you're watching DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. This man in the box next to me is Mr. Pedro Garcia. A special shout out to the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast, to Joey and Len. Watched their show last night, participated in the chat. Hilarious guys. Gotta get Joey on our show.
Dude,
Pedro, it's so amazing how the people that do what we do all end up with the same political viewpoints. When you just look at finances all day and government budgets and markets, there's no way you can have a liberal thought point. And it's not because I'm like, oh, well, just those evil conservatives and those terrible liberals and all that type of stuff. You just look at stuff that makes sense and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. And Joey and Len are the same way, and they're like, none of this makes any sense. Specifically, they brought up a good point, Pedro. I wanted to bring up. We talk about the numbers, the debt to GDP. We talk about the debt all the time, the climbing debt, all this kind of stuff. It's terrible. Canada is the same problem, just on a lower scale. Percentages is smaller because smaller population, smaller government. But they've been going on about how they're okay because their debt to GDP ratio is so much better than all the other G7 countries. They're like, you know what? Our debt is a lot, but our ratio is much better than the US, UK, all this type of stuff. We have the lowest. We're the best. We're the best of the worst. That's essentially what they're saying. We're the best of the worst. It turns out that the giant Canadian pension fund called the CPP, along with the Quebec pension fund, the CDPQ, has many billions of dollars in assets. And the government includes that in their asset list. And so they say we only have a 19% GDP to debt ratio, or whatever it is. Guess what they don't include in their financial statements?
Long-term debt.
The liability that all the stuff in the retirement fund is actually owed to someone.
Long-term debt is real. America doesn't.
They include the assets. They do not include the liabilities. And when you include the liabilities, turns out they're the worst of the worst, not the best of the worst. And I sat here last night, and the Minister of Finance, previous Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, sat there and testified, our finances are fine. They're fine. They're fine because of this ratio. And do you know who her number one economic advisor was that they were paying millions of dollars a year to tell them
during America's Guide during COVID?
No, it was the current Prime Minister, Mr. Mark Carney. He is now the Prime Minister, and he is the one that just says we don't need to put liabilities in with the assets. It's just not needed. And on this note, you know what he also said, Pedro? This is the best part. This is the best part. I know I'm on a roll here, but I'm on a roll. He wants to change the new Canadian budget is dropping today for the next year for 2026. And he said, we're going to do things like a business. We're going to have a capital budget and an operating budget. And people are like, finally. I thought this for 20 years doing business with Canada. They would buy things and never have an operating budget to maintain anything. They just, it was a mess. And so I'm like, this is good. This is good. Guess what the definition of a capital budget is? Anything that creates capital or contributes to creating capital, such as operating costs.
Is that a bit of a circle?
It's the circle jerk. That's what it is, Pedro.
Oh, I thought it was circle reasoning, but I guess
circular logic. I think that's what you're looking for.
Circular logic, yeah. Circular logic, circular reasoning.
And so they redefine the word capital, right, to include anything that vaguely resembles the creation of capital or assists in the creation of capital. So in order to build roads, which is a capital expense, you have to maintain them. But they put that in the capital budget because that is not a year-to-year thing. So they can reduce the operating budget and then say, what, Pedro? We balance the budget.
Next is going to be America who does that. I see it happening.
I got this list of things that after watching Joey and Lenny and also this other guy, I don't know his real name, but he's called the Millennial Moron, his YouTube channel. And all he does is talk about these types of things in the Canadian budget. And when he does, all I hear is your voice talking about the U.S. budget. It's the weirdest thing. The Millennial Moron talks with a very deep, deadpan humor thing. Talks like a 1950s variety host show guy like Ed Sullivan. But all on this year, I hear is Pedro talking. It's the weirdest thing. I'm like, I've heard this somewhere before. And I'm like, on my own show, my own co-host, my friend Pedro has said this. DeFi dude is in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, USA got 30 million. Want to give cocaine to frogs for science? Dara, you tuned into a good day. Tommy's on a roll here.
Dude, want to give cocaine to frogs for science. Oh, dude, you got me. Oh, the worst
Crypto
part behind
Mike
it
in the
is,
house. Thanks for joining us, Crypto Mike.
Crypto
You
Mike,
got me
what's
on
up?
a good day here.
Yes.
Oh,
What's up, Mike?
Canada.
Let's go.
My sort of not home, but that's not a colonial home because I'm a settler and not a real person. Land. They're changing the lyrics of "Oh Canada" again.
Why?
Another guy sang the song and just changed him while he's singing it to make it more inclusive.
Oh,
okay. You can just, Pedro, there's no end to this. Ladies and gentlemen, the market is dumping today. And Pedro and I are just on a roll here.
Because it's time to go solo rolling in my 5.0. Sorry.
We're going rolling.
A 5.0 my hair phase. What was I gonna say?
Well, okay. It doesn't matter what you're gonna say, Pedro, because I'm gonna take a break right here. And obviously, I've had caffeine today,
and it's fun. I like it when you get all souped up.
I've had a lot of caffeine today, but I haven't had the right caffeine. You know why? Because I'm not drinking 1775 coffee, ladies and gentlemen. Nope, I'm not, and I should be. Have you still not tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit is out. Only 1,000 units of them. You need to get one of them. You're going to get 3 things if you buy it. You're going to get the bold dark roast. That hits hard. You're going to get the smooth medium roast. And you're getting the Vitality Mushroom Coffee. That's right. For clean energy and a laser focus. No crash. No squirrel. Oh, nothing like that. Nope. It's all single origin, small batch, toxin free, and mold free. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Plus, you're also getting what, ladies and gentlemen? You know what's coming. You're getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. No. You're getting a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions. Strong. Very strong there. You're also getting a black 1775 tumbler. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for only $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up right here on Rumble. Now you're wondering, is it actually worth it? Spoiler, it is worth it. Go to 1775coffee/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like here on Rumble. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching on your big screen TV, hold your cell phone up and pop that QR code that's right over here on the side of the screen. Put your eyeballs on our advertisers. All we can do is ask you to do that. It helps Pedro and I out a lot when you do that. If you're watching on your cell phone, there's a link in the chat section there. It says learn more. And if you're watching on the replay, first of all, thank you. But 2, there's a link in the comments down below in the description to go to 1775coffee.com, and thank you to 1775 Coffee for sponsoring this segment of DYOR Live.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Booyah!
If you guys could do us a quick favor, hit that like, subscribe button. Also, another thing that also helps us out tremendously, if you go through and make a comment down in not the comment section here, that's real simple, but in the actual show description below that, you actually see comments. Throw a couple comments in that saying, hey, I don't like that guy with the big old nose that looks kind of brown, or that pasty white guy next to him.
Get him! Although I must say, Pedro, you're looking very white right now. You're looking more like your Jewish roots than your Mexican roots.
It's not good. It's not good. You know what? I've honestly am like discounting whether I think I'm Jewish or not, simply because I actually reached out to a family member and I said, "Have you done that?" And now, granted, like we have different fathers, but I thought on my thing it said like my mother was Jewish, and we both, and he's like, no, bro, we ain't Jewish. I said, what? And so I think like what you were saying now, bro, like, you know how like Mossad was
I'm not into conspiracy theories, as you know. But
Yes.
when I
Yeah.
ask every single person that did 23andMe back in the day, and everyone came back saying that they're a large majority of Jewish in them, I'm like, wait a minute.
I think you're right.
I mean, like, one guy was Chinese, and he's like, you're 23% Ashkenazi and Jewish. And the guy's like, oh, Jewish, oh no. I was like, wait a minute. Another guy was Japanese. He's like, wait, you're not Mediterranean. You're not Greek. You know, all those cultures intermixed back then. But not the Asians.
No, they did not. They were very exclusive.
Oh, good Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin trending downward. Actually, it just bounced a little bit here, but looking forward
coming back down.
Looking for it to hit the old 100,000 mark. Like I said earlier, for those of you joining late, I programmed the show here saying sub 100,000 K BTC. Are we going to hit that? Are we going to hit it? The answer is damn right we're going to hit it. The question is when.
Yeah.
Question is when. Let's see. What does the show timer have in store for us? I haven't even been following that at all. It just says, coming up audience chat, ladies and gentlemen. We've been doing enough audience chat. Pedro, what's going on with the fucking markets?
Yeah, let's go ahead. So check it out right now. So we actually have a few things going on here. We're following the period moving average, and we've literally been following it since. So I actually was on the show, the breakfast show, and I said, all right, guys, it's going up, expect it to go up, and then expect it to go down. And we will most likely hit that 1 hour 8 period moving average, which is what it did. Actually, it was the 2 hour. Sorry, that 2 hour period moving average sitting right here. We had a nice little supply wick here, came up, tapped it, and we just sent it off down. Now, what's interesting here, and I point this out because I think it's really important, is that we haven't really taken much profit over the last 3 hours. Okay. So I would expect to see a bit of a pullback here. Where will it most likely? I expect it to come and tap that 103 area again, and then maybe continue down. So don't get too caught up with this sell off. I think we could see it pull back here again to that 1 hour area here, where that 8 period moving average, and potentially the 2 hour as it's starting to come up. See it come back up to here. So just be mindful of where we're sitting at the next junction point here, and you need to be paying attention to is in about 15 minutes. We're starting to see a bit of a pullback here. Expect it to go down a little. If we see it go down in the next hour, first thing into the demand wick here, expected to see a pullback here. So if we see it go up first, okay, then it potentially could get back all the way up here too. So but I would expect it to continue down if we see it go back up into this hour. So that's it in a nutshell. Let's check out Aster here real quick.
Aster, another one that
we've been playing, waiting for.
Yeah, waiting for, and it.
There we are. We're starting to show. See it? See him coming in, finding support here. Saw it come down. Nice little demand wick. Demand wick. Demand wick. Now we're starting to put them in. You see, as we're coming down, they're starting to establish that position here. So I'm starting to like it. Pedro, likey. Let's go. Let's check out that 30-minute. Not as happy with that. But that climb up here is good. See that right there? See all those demand wicks coming in?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we have some supply wicks, but we're also seeing demand wicks came back down. So this is kind of like what we want to see happening here, is just that consolidation here with demand wicks as they're putting in that position. Let's check out our 5-minute. $5. I want my $2. I got.
That's a damn shame. Throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know the movie Pedro and I are quoting right now, then you are better off.
All right.
I mean,
so,
John Cusack may be one of the bigger idiots in the whole planet, but he makes some great funny movies. I mean,
didn't he fumble with what's her name, Love Hewitt? Didn't he fumble that?
He fumbles everything in life. He's just one of those guys that grew up an actor and, you know, moved to LA and got caught up in that whole entertainment world in LA. When you get there at age 14, just puts the zap in your head, and he's got it. I sat across from him in a train for a couple hours in Europe once, and he was a whack job. Let me tell you that.
Really? Like as a person?
Yeah, like just as a regular person. Just funny thing is he's much bigger in person. He's like tall and a substantial human being. On TV, he always looks like this little geeky guy, but you're like, oh, he's a big guy, and he's just a dork. And then you see him on TV complaining about politics, and as soon as he opens his mouth, I'm like, oh God, you need to stop speaking. Stop speaking. You're just making it worse. Making it worse for everybody on your side. Just stop.
Yeah.
Same with me. I need to stop speaking.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, this will most likely come down. We'll wait and see here for this. But it looks like it still wants to go down a little bit more. So we'll see.
But we still got this thing programmed at an 85-cent trade in the system. So if you think that needs to be updated, you need to let me know here so I can adjust that. And then after Aster, yeah, that does look like it's going to come back down more, just following the trend. Or it could just come down to a 786 retracement and just pop right back up. But let's take a look at, when you get done with Aster, let's look at BNB here. That came down dramatically.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, dude, you know what today is?
BNB day?
No, Technical Tuesday. I just realized it's Tuesday.
Yes, I know that.
Totally forgot. Literally, how did I forget? Nice little area. Perfect. Look at that. Still bounced off of that after it traded through.
Anyway, we had a trade in. I had the striking trade in at 950, saying that BNB was going to take an unusually large dump, and I was correct. It traded through it, obviously, so I'm long at 950 on this, but I'm more than willing to bet even a little bit of good news, and this thing's coming right back up.
What's price sitting at right now for you?
929.
So you've lost. All right. So yeah, I got an area down at that 910 area. It's still all right. 908 still didn't come down to my area, so I probably wouldn't take this as we come down.
What is its low today? 915.
No, I actually have 910.
You got 910. I got 915 on. I don't know where the great graphics machine's drawn from. I don't know where CoinGecko gets its info.
Yeah, this is on Bybit, perpetual contract.
Wow, now that, you know what? Not something that was not predicted. Even with my newbie eyes here, I was like, BNB, it had a big pump up, and of which we couldn't figure out really why, other than the Aster effect and some other. Volume-based projects, but we're like, there's some money's being made over there, and it's gotta sell off. And sure enough, it was a big. In fact, Pedro, looking at that makes me think that BNB is coming down to like 700.
Well, so there's a major liquidity area at around 679, like this area right here. This is a big liquidity area. We have additional one right above that sitting at 856. And then we just blew through another liquidity area at that 1,000 mark area. So we actually didn't even, it barely even stopped, man. I mean, literally, look at this. It hit it and just cut through it. Like, look, boom, a half an hour, we saw it go up. Literally came into the area, shot up, and then just sold back off. There was a little bit of liquidity there, but yeah, the closer we get to these lows, the more I'm expecting this thing to see a sell-off. into these lower areas. And again, but this isn't just selling off, man. You can see here that like people really are getting rid of this. Like there's no demand wicks. I mean, there's a few, but like it's very small. These are just orders being matched. One being novices are selling, two being institutions are actually going through and buying it because they're orderly distributing it. So that's why we see bodies. But every time we see a bunch of supply wicks, we also see price cut through them again, and so they're null and void. And so then, like, look at this right here, right? Boom! It's the same thing that happened here. Price went up, and then we saw some supply wicks, but then we see it gets sold off of, right? In the same sense, it's what we keep seeing like every day. So it's
you know what's? Sorry, go ahead. I thought you were stuffing there.
And then just one last little bit. You can see right here, like every area has that goes back, and they take these orders. And the reason why that's important is that means that it will be able to swim through that once it comes back up. So just as quick as you're watching a sell-off looks like is as quick as it's going to climb back up.
Each one of those big wicks down that you see here, all the big wicks down, they're never the bottom. Most of the times when you see the big wicks down, it goes down, grabs the liquidity, and then starts a march up of some sort. They're all broken pretty quickly. What time frame oh, that's a daily chart. I thought you had the 30-minute chart up. But even on the 30-minute chart, the wicks are not happy. El no happio, as my Spanish teacher would say.
So the thing is, that's
a joke.
It's all right. It's a good joke. This right here, this is institutions buying that. Like this is where they want to buy, right? Boom. Again, like this is institution buying. Boom. Sell off here. They're buying back. They're long and short constantly, and so they're net long, but at a very small, like at 1%, right? Until they get to a really low, and then they switch that to maybe 5 or 10% net long. So they're really able to capitalize on the market up. But once you get to that high, they start to like pull back on entering into the market at long again, dropping that net long to maybe 1 or 2%.
Right.
And so that's an important figure to understand, is that right now they're increasing their net long positions as it's going down, right? So they're dollar cost averaging. When you think about it, I mean, it was at the high of 1375, right? And I believe now it's down to, what is that? 928. So
yeah, last traded price was 928 according to CoinGecko.
Was that 25% from the highs?
I mean, just the 24-hour high is a 10% trading range here. $1,007 was the high only a couple hours ago. And then got all the way down to 915 or 903 or 902, whatever it is on your chart. A big move for BNB. I'm more than guessing that Binance itself and CZ and crew said, oh, the market's going down. Might as well sell a couple of $1 billion worth and just buy it back when it's cheaper. Wouldn't that be a great problem to have, Pedro?
Yeah.
Hey, what are you going to do? You wake up, you check the morning Slack messages. What's going on? I don't know. Looks like the market's going down. Let's just sell $1 billion worth of our stuff and then buy it back cheaper so we can make another $1 billion. All right. Check in at noon. All right. Be a good problem to have. Dara, do you have that problem over in Spain? You just wake up in the morning and just say, just going to sell things and buy it back cheaper and make a ton of money today. It's a good problem to have. Anyway, we've got a couple of people. Well, they disappeared. I was going to say we had a couple of people watching us on YouTube. Thanks to everybody watching us over on the YouTube. If you can do us a favor over there and hit that share button. We'd appreciate it. In fact, if you did it on any platform, we'd appreciate it. But especially on YouTube, YouTube has been, I'll use the word recalcitrant lately.
What? Say that again?
Recalcitrant.
Recalcitrant?
Recalcitrant.
Recalcitrant.
Let's just say it's an old English word or something like that. I don't know. But they have not been, it isn't just crypto. It's just pretty much anyone that's a live show. You want to put up videos of your cats that you recorded in your backyard during a tornado, man, they're all for that. And apparently advertisers love the demographic that watches cat tornado videos. I don't know. They must just buy a lot of stuff online and click buttons like, yes, buy it, buy it, buy it. But people that invest in finances and trade BTC and, all this kind of stuff, not a good demographic for YouTube. However, for Rumble, amazingly on Rumble, cat videos get almost no play. It's unbelievable. But intelligent videos that teach you things get lots of play. Who knew? So, needless to say, thank you to Rumble and Chris Pavlovsky over there running the show there. Chris, this is our periodic shout out to you. We want to help you get the word out about the crypto wallet you're doing, your partnership with Tether, and help represent you at trade shows. Get in touch with us, please. We're an official Rumble partner. I even use Rumble Cloud. I'm one of the 6 people that do that. Come on, talk to us. DeFi Dude says DCA is the way. And almost every online trader influencer person that I watch that trades a lot just comes out and admits that most of the money they made was because they just bought low and DCA'd when the price went back down. And they're like, yeah, I made a lot of money trading leverage, or got in and out of the spot market 10 times today. But almost all of them say, yep, I got my millions because I bought Bitcoin, when it was at 30,000. Then I bought more when it went down to 16,000. Now it's at 100,000. DCA is the way.
I had a friend of mine who literally, I remember he came to me because I was trading at the time, and he straight said to me, he's like, do you think I should buy Bitcoin at 100? And I literally said to him, that's funny money. Why would you do that? And he goes, well, because it might be big. And he goes, I feel like it's going to be big at $100. And I said, yeah, but it goes from like $1,000 to $100. Like, that's how does that happen? And he started telling me at the time, and I didn't understand the idea of reflation and how deflation and inflation really work. And all of a sudden, he sits there and he's just like, you think I should do it? And I go, nah. I still look back, because at the time that kid had about $40,000, and he wanted to throw $20,000 into Bitcoin.
And you talked him out of it. The guy doesn't say the words shit or fuck anymore. When he gets pissed off, he goes, Pedro!
He's doing very well for himself. I actually helped him get into XRP and Litecoin as well when they launched. So I helped him trade through that. So he bought low, and then it skyrocketed and then came back down again. And so he was able to buy both of those coins at really low prices, and then trade them, where he was able to quadruple his coin usage. And then he would call me up every now and then, hey, where's a good price to buy? And I said, oh, this is a good price. He'd be like, Pedro, you need to buy this stuff. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. It's funny money. And now I'm like, so.
It's funny money because all the people that bought it are laughing at the rest of us. That's why it's funny money.
Exactly. That's exactly. So I know he's doing well. He now makes about $250,000, $300,000 a year. As a good salesman. So
I tell you, Pedro, it's time to run an ad, and I'm trying to pick which one. And I've got a new strategy for picking. And all you ad writers out there, note how our show kind of flows, our conversation. When you say stick to the script exactly word for word, I'm going to skip your script, even if you pay it more, because I cannot do that. We're not recording something here in the studio. Well, let's do take 59. I have ADD, and I'm talking into a live mic, and I've got my friend here who has the same issue. I can't do it word for word.
Well, do it. I have no problem. Do it. We'll have fun with it.
Nope. I'm
I refuse.
Picked another one. Let's, Pedro, you and I talk about retirement all the time. We talk about deflation. We talk about inflation. We talk about devaluation. Right when I go to read the ad, my voice goes. Did you know the biggest threat to your retirement is not something that we talk about all that often, maybe just daily? Our increased longevity in America means that default retirement accounts like IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, RSSPs, all the different ones in US or Canada, they may not suffice when you get older. If you have over $100,000 in your retirement account, get instant access to a free 2-minute report from Augusta Precious Metals that reveals the one step that you can take to secure your financial future. Text the word SAFE, S-A-F-E, SAFE, to 35052 today. Once again, it's one of those short codes. It's okay. Text the word SAFE, S-A-F-E, to 35052 today to learn about how Augusta Precious Metals can help you get to your retirement goals. Ladies and gentlemen, over on the side over here, there is a QR code. If you're watching on your big screen TV, hold up your cell phone and pop that QR code. Visit Augusta Gold. Text SAFE to 35052 for your free report. If you're watching on your cell phone, there's a link in the chat there. Just learn more. And if you're watching on the replay, as always, thank you very much. And there's a link in the description below. And thank you for Augusta Gold, Augusta Precious Metals, whatever your name is, for sponsoring this segment of DYOR Live.
Speaking of gold.
Good point. What is gold doing today?
Yeah, it actually sold off, which was really interesting when you saw the sell-off, but it did not put in a seller wick. So most likely that is a sign of potential reversal where we might see this thing come down into going back up. So yeah, I thought we would get a little bit further. I thought we'd get down to that 3,800, but the way it's playing right now, maybe it might continue down to that 50 period. But it's starting to show some strength again, especially on the smaller time frames. You can see here, right? Like you see a lot of buying. You can see here a lot of green candles, and they're just trying to keep it in this level here so they can pick up even at this level here. Like I'm hoping it gets down to that 38.44, and that Augustan thing, which I think is totally epic. I think is that the one that also gives you interest on your gold that you buy.
You know what, Pedro? I don't know because I did not text SAFE to 35052, but I'm going to, and I will find out.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Although I'm in Canada, so I don't think it'll work in Canada right now.
I'm always afraid to do that because I get so many scam, not to say that's what they are, but I'm always so petrified, dude, because you sign up to one and you got 50,000 new texts every morning. And no matter how many times you hit block, you know how many block numbers I have?
My list is endless.
Thousands. Yes.
I sent Pedro 5 years ago, I bought a motorcycle. And somehow my phone number went from the motorcycle dealership to a helmet sales company. I get 5 texts a day from this helmet sales. New deal on a helmet. I'm like, how many helmets can you effing buy? Imagine if I bought one 5 years ago, got one helmet, still use it. Block. And then they come on all different short codes and numbers. I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah. Come on. Exactly. I agree. And I get it. You need 16 or 8 drips. So in sales, right? If somebody actually makes a sale or buys from you, then you need to reach out.
Got 7,200.
But I'll tell you this: once you need a new helmet, who are you going to?
I gotta tell you, I know where to go. My phone's full of them.
Yeah, like literally. So I mean, no matter what, it can't hurt you, because if it's a good company and you're like, well, they're still around. They've been around for 5 years, 6 years.
You know what the funny thing is, though, Pedro, is that a couple of years ago they came up. I don't know who they are, but they came up with a new way to rate the impact of a helmet and the protection. It's called MIPS, and the Mrs. Striking just recently got back into riding horses after a young career of doing it, and she was a Canadian national champion and all this type of stuff. Took 20 years off. All the safety equipment changed. We're in the store, and there's like this acronym on the helmets, and it says MIPS. And neither she nor the salesperson really understood it. And I'm like, aha! My text messages are full of this shit. I went right to my spam text messages for this helmet company, and sure enough, they had the right information, because the motorcycle helmets and falling off a horse are the same thing. So here I am complaining that they're just spamming me, but then on the other hand, I had the instant access of what I needed to know is related to it. So I guess they got me, and they won the big artificial intelligence, big data game, because they knew I would need that information, and sure enough, I did.
It's okay. It's all right. One thing I thought was really interesting is, in the midst of all of this turmoil that's going on, we're watching crude oil jump all the way up to $60 a barrel, which I thought was really interesting. Over the last 2 weeks. We were talking about, I thought crude oil was going to be coming down to this 55 to 48 area, and we didn't. We kind of pulled back up, and so we're kind of playing off of that weekly 8 and monthly as well. Kind of, you can see how it's kind of trending down, but it's real interesting so far that we kind of sold off at the beginning of the month of crude oil. So I think we got much further to go down, but ultimately I feel like this might be a good place to kind of, to just be looking at the market. And if this thing starts to really kind of just stay here and going sideways, this is where we want to see the market at, that 60 to 50 area. So we'll see what happens, but it's really interesting to see what's actually moving on in this. Wouldn't it be crazy if we got down, like if things started really falling apart and we got down to negative 40 again? That'd be crazy.
Those poor people in Alberta, they get screwed.
Yeah, dude, imagine that moment. I do remember that moment. It paused at at 3 cents. I was like, oh my god, it's at 3 cents. And then all of a sudden it just said, boom. Boop. And I was like, it's negative? Wait, how does a hard asset go negative?
I remember the the premier of Alberta at the time. His name was Jason Kenney. He used to be my neighbor here, I might add. He was. I remember him being on TV, going turning during the press conference, saying what?
What do you mean?
When someone said it's negative 40, he's like, obviously that person's an idiot and got it wrong. And then they're like, no, I'm not an idiot. Here's the price, boss. Yeah. And he's and he turned around and he said, we now have, and he just dropped it all in the pants or on the lap of Justin Trudeau, because they didn't let him build any pipelines, so they couldn't move their oil. They couldn't ship it. Yeah. So they had to literally pay people to buy their oil. To pay them $40 a barrel to buy their oil and essentially close out their futures contracts. It's just an epic market imbalance.
It was nuts, absolutely nuts. I remember that. The world, everything was falling apart, and traders were just like, yeah. So bad, but it was.
Oh yeah, well I bought crude oil at $40. How about you? I bought it at negative 40. It went to zero, and I made 6,000%.
It was crazy, because I remember it just. I wish we could go back on the 5-minute. Yes, I know it's not going to go back, but when like it literally popped. I think it was like around 3 cents, 3 or 2 cents. It's there for like maybe like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I was like, oh, okay, it's definitely. And all of a sudden it just fell off. It gapped down and just plummeted. And we're sitting there, and it's a group of maybe 15 traders. We're all in this group just going, holy, and we're all like short, like we shorted it, right? I think it was when it was 8, right? And when it fell so hard. I don't think this is gonna allow me to. Let's see if it'll allow it.
Chuck Jansen says, let's go! Fire Chicken. Hope Fire Chicken's doing well today. Hope you're enjoying the show today. Pedro and I have just been on one big tangent today. The show clock is just thrown right out. We're just going at it, but we're having fun today. Like I said, I've had way too much coffee. Not 1775 coffee. They need to send me some of that. But as always, everyone out there, including you guys watching on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, welcome everybody. Please comment, like, subscribe, follow, share. Just do it. This is what's called the call to action. And we need you to do that. We need you to follow our instructions. At least some kind of majority percentage of you. For the love of God, please. I can't beg anymore.
Well, as long as we're giving good alpha, most people will do it for us for free. And that's what we call edutainment. Ooh, yeah.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today's mostly the tainment part.
But we are slowly going over this stuff while we're going throughout the day. But I might add in a very fun way. And so what was really interesting is as I was looking at the dollar this morning, right, we're showing it's like some strength as it was moving up. I saw the currency starting to get up. We're starting to fall through the door here. And I was like, oh snaps, we're seeing a pump. And so like I sat there and I was like, wow, look at this thing. We got into it around here, around that $97. And we talked about it literally continuing up to that 200 period moving average. Now, the part that we need to be paying attention to is this, right? As we're coming into this level, let me put this USDX. Give me 1 second. Oh, USDX, US dollar index. Thank you. Now, the key to be paying attention to here is as we're coming up to that US dollar, that 200 period moving average, and the key point is as we come into it, we want to see a greater push up of more volume. Okay, if it doesn't, we're going to see it most likely pull back to again that 98 area here again, but we're starting to climb above that 100 period moving average, which means that some goods should start to become cheaper if we buy them overseas, just simply because that means that stronger US dollar, we're able to purchase more. But I've talked about the analogy of a weak dollar because we keep overprinting basically we keep printing, which funnels a ton of money into the economy, which then more money in the economy chasing the same goods make those goods more expensive, right? Inflation. And so with that said, this is US dollar overseas. And so you'll be able to purchase more goods, though, which is going to be nicer.
Pedro, I'm going to take a water refill break. I will be right back.
While Tom is doing that, I'm also going to guzzle down, as Tom says, some water. So give me 1 second as well. All right, right back at you. So we're watching the U.S. dollar, like I said. We're looking at that 200 period moving average coming into play here right now. And you can see how volume is dropping off. So I do expect to see a pullback, hit that kind of play here, and then come back down. We are also at the same time we have two liquidity areas right here as well, right above each other. So it's kind of playing nicely into this. So expect a short here. This would be the area where I'd be looking to short. The other one I want to look at, I just thought was real interesting, is the Russell 2000. So we talked about the Russell last week, how I saw it starting to show some weakness, and I said, I don't trust this, right? And I said, this rally here on the Russell 2000, as we hit the high here, we started seeing it kind of pull back here. And one of the things I talked about is coming down to that 50 period moving average, but also at the same time, I'm really looking into that 2370 area because if we don't hold at that 50 period moving average, I'm expecting to see us come down even lower into that 2359. And one of the things I talked about was with this, if this continues down, typically this acts as a bellwether for the indexes, and so that's kind of like what we're watching now. We talked about the short around here, around that for the S&P 500 last week, around that 69.43 to 69.28 area was the area that I was looking to sell after we started seeing the sell-off. So you can see here, this is what we saw, kind of pull up, come back down, and now we're seeing the S&P 500 drop here, which has been pretty nice. I think it was last Tuesday that I was talking about the S&P 500 selling off here. Again, we're still in the environment of high inflation, and so because of that, I don't expect to see this really sell off compared to like how I used to say, oh, this thing's coming down to here. It's just not the environment anymore. We're in at high inflation, and so in high inflation, assets don't lose value, right? And so this is why, like, if you have access to credit or whatever, be smart, but and do your research and work. But this is why buying homes, if you can buy a home, if you can buy hard assets, that's what you want to do. Things that will be able to sustain its value. I mean, shoot, just buying copper and steel could benefit you. So if you could find if somebody's selling some copper for cheap, boom, hold on to it. Right now, the other thing we wanted to look at was copper as well, because the copper to gold ratio, well, it's one of those ones. This one is, so copper is the bellwether, the bellwether sign for the economy. And so if the economy itself is starting to show weakness and really show like its ability to be strong, if it's not strong and we're not seeing the price of copper go up, typically that means there's less demand for that, which means then that since most buildings, most houses, more things that create real jobs when they use copper, that in itself, if we're seeing a decrease, that means there's a slowdown in building. And when you see a slowdown in building, then that means that we're starting to see a slowdown in the economy. And then when that so that typically will mean that the market at large is going to go down. But because we're in high inflation era, it's the opposite of that. So assets will go up. Because when it's weak, the only thing that's going to hold value is gold, stocks, and so that that it will keep going. And the reason why we have inflation, right? And this is why I always bring this up, and I know you guys are probably going to get irritated. Where is that clock? It's because of this guy right here, the Breakfast Club. I kind of broke it down real simple. Our house, called the United States, makes $4 a month, i.e. $4 trillion. Or our house, on a monthly basis, we make about $4 trillion. Okay, it's a good way of putting it, or a little less. See how we can actually do this and make it really simple. All right, so we have a house. That house, it makes $4. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how much we make, but on a monthly basis. But our debt is $6, or excuse me, we live off of $6. There we go. That's it. So houses, we make $4. But our debt every month is $6. So we're literally shy $2 every month. So we go to a thing called our friendly local bank and we say, hey, can you loan us $2?
I think you mean Louis down on the street corner.
Well, maybe. Either way, it's still called the Federal Reserve. So
putting juice on the street.
Did you say Jews on the street, or did you say juice on?
That's what they call it. When the mafia lends money, they got some juice in the street.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I did.
Come on, haven't you watched Goodfellas or Casino? Or
I just never caught it. I just never caught it.
Juice. I got juice in the street.
Juice in the street. But long story short, we need to borrow that. And so what we do is we go to borrow it, and that money gets put into the circulation of the U.S. Purchasing products. And the problem is that makes prices go up even more because there's more money circulating in the system. And what that does is that makes things really tough. Now, right now we have a thing called the reverse repo market, or they just call it the repo market. And there are large banks that trade between each other. And they charge like 1% overnight lending. And they literally lend. That legitimately got me. That was.
That was a double bang. Triple banger.
Triple banger, bro.
I'm gonna mute that again for it got our attention, but it doesn't need to be going all the time. That is the sound of Bitcoin hitting new lows. Pedro is attempting to explain the repo market, which is a difficult one to explain, but essentially it's if you need to borrow or lend
just look at
billions. Go ahead.
Just look. Okay, so you have a papa bank, like a dad bank, okay, and he's got kids, right? Which kids banks. So the papa bank is what we call the Federal Reserve, okay, and the kids banks are local banks and larger banks. And those large banks, right, not the papa bank, but the kids banks that are large banks, they lend to each other. Let's say one bank needs $4 trillion to make payment or whatever, right? And then the other bank goes, all right, cool, I'll lend you that, but you need to pay me 1% for overnight. So like 1 trillion, and all I gotta pay is 100 or 10 billion. That sounds like a great deal. All right, I'll take that. And sure enough, they lend. So you have a bunch of kid banks right now lending between each other. But what happens if they stop trusting each other? When they stop trusting each other,
bad things happen.
Yeah, they don't lend to each other. Okay? And so Papa Bank has to go in and say, you know what, I got to make sure that my kid banks can go ahead and keep lending out, right, to keep keeping this economy going. So I'm going to turn on my printing press and go, here's money into the local banks. And then the local banks go, thank you, great, now we trust each other again, because they're adding liquidity to the market. And then what happens? That money gets funneled into the economy through loans. The problem is that's also that extra money that gets pushed into the economy by
the repo market doesn't really do that. I mean,
well, no, that's.
I'm saying they pull it back the next day.
No. When we're talking about when they start, yes, they pay back. But the problem is this is the key, is when they're producing that income into the system, or excuse me, fake money, because it's not produced, right? That money is still being sent, and you're still creating money.
Click.
This is the part, is money still being sent into the economy. It doesn't fully get paid back. And remember, the other banks are still, it's not that they don't have money, it's that they've already lent out so much and they can't lend out more, and so they have to keep the reserves of what they have. Right.
It's a good point. Is that liquidity, providing liquidity to a market, meaning in essence a credit line, is essentially the same thing as printing money, simply because it allows banks and people make decisions based on their overall picture. They don't say, if they only have $50 in their checking account, they don't say we only have $50. They say we also have a Visa card that's got a $50,000 credit line. So they still think we have $50,000 in money we can use, and that's what providing the liquidity is. The repo market's very, very interesting, and it's going through a little bit of a crisis now.
Well, we talked about this 2 weeks ago. We've been talking about this, right?
And it's not just banks, but the government participates in it too, because sometimes the government needs money. So they have a reverse repo market in which the government says, we need to pay a bunch of bills today. We don't have enough cash. We're not going to print money. So we just need to borrow money overnight until some tax payments come in. And so they borrow it from big banks. Same thing. And the amount of money that goes through it makes Bitcoin look like a little, the newspaper delivery boy. I mean, the amount of money that goes through that the banks lend each other on a daily basis. And it's people think, well, why do banks need to do that? You know what? Every now and then, a couple of oil tankers set sail, and each one of those oil tankers has got $500 million or $1 billion worth of oil in it.
500 billion, like 500 billion.
Whatever the amount is, and the banks all of a sudden need to make a payment, and banks can't just create money. They can't print it like the U.S. government. They can use their fractional reserves and relend stuff like that. But sometimes they need to move cash monies. And the other banks say, your credit's not good. You need to send us the cash for that money. And so they got to get it from somewhere. They know they're going to get paid the next day. So they got to go borrow it from where? From other banks or from the Fed. The repo market. A quick pointing this back to the audience real quick, Pedro. DeFi Dude says, if you take out AI and tech stocks, are we just moving sideways? And I'd like to answer that as yes, as Pedro just did. However, we also take a look at the Russell 2000. And Pedro has been pointing out that the Russell 2000 has been moving up steadily for a while after years in the doldrums.
Yep.
Years. And I know because I had an investment a while ago that was heavy in the Russell 2000 and was getting hammered. Every year I was like, how could small businesses suck so badly? And then, of course, I sold it, and that's what started going straight up. But the small business and the Russell 2000, it's just one of those little bellwethers of the economy. If the government's pumping money into stuff, I shouldn't say it means everything is good. I should just say that's just one of the indicators that things are going in a certain direction. And that's going up. Small businesses are doing okay, according to the Russell 2000. And the Russell 2000 doesn't mean mom and pop stores, the local florist and your convenience store that's run by Abdul. It means small and medium-sized enterprises. So, companies that have been around they're not entrepreneurial. They're small businesses that feed the supply chains of the larger economy. Doing okay. And yes, AI is bubbling. The money is Pedro, where is all this AI money coming from? I mean, it's just, is it just because the tech stocks are worth so much that they can just bleed off a couple $100 billion and just say, oh, we're going to have another $135 billion investment and give it to Sam Altman, another $100 billion to Sam Altman, another $100 billion to NVIDIA? I mean, DeFi Dude, I mean, if you have a news feed that has AI investments, it's just like, it's monopoly money. It's like, we're going to give $100 billion to AI and then in the OpenAI. And then OpenAI says, we're going to give $90 billion to these guys. And you're like, I can't even follow it.
So check this out. It's crazy. So the Federal Reserve overnight reverse repo facility typically lends out anywhere between tens of billions of dollars to over $1 trillion per night, depending on the market condition. As of late 2025, the daily usage has fallen sharply from its high, or from its 2022 peak of over $2.5 trillion, and now average closer to $50 to $100 billion. Like it was at the peak was maybe it was 2.5 trillion, and let's say on, that was 22 peak. Now the average around today is around 50 to 100 billion dollars per night. That's crazy. That's nothing. That's like a whisper. Like that's like.
Well, one of the things that's important in that is that if companies are flush with cash, meaning they, the big companies have a lot of cash, that means that cash is somewhere. It's in the banks. So the banks aren't going to need to go to the government to borrow money or to each other as much as if they're not flush with cash. And so, the fact that that's down can signify that companies have a lot of money and they're keeping it in cash. Now, the other side of that is that they're keeping it in cash because they don't trust the economy. So at one point you're saying, oh, everything's good, companies have a lot of cash. But then the other side you say, but wait a minute, why do they have a lot of cash? They have a lot of cash because sales are up. Oh, that's good. But why aren't they putting it in investments or investing in their own products? And you're like, because they're worried about the future. Quagmire. Yes, DeFi dude, this conversation can go around and around in circles. And then every once in a while, this like an answer pops out of these conversations, and that the person who does that wins the Nobel Prize for economics. Bitcoin recovering slightly here. Let's check out everybody else here on the great graphics machine. Bitcoin 100, just above 100. We're trying to get it below there. Ethereum, our Ethereum trade also came in. Hit also at 3,300, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's actually what we're looking at right now. We came down to this area here. We can pull up. Just came down to this liquidity area. It just sang right through it. Cut through it like butter. Woo! And they're taking liquidity.
All right, so we're long in Ethereum, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, nah.
I mean, just 2 days ago, Pedro, we were looking at Ethereum at 4,000. We're like, this is going to be a long time before Ethereum hits 3,300. 2 days later,
boop. Drops. Now, look.
For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, over there on that side of the screen is our app called TradeWave that's currently in beta right now. We put the trades in there that Pedro and I talk about that we want to see come to fruition and the trading strategy behind it. The second trade on the screen there, it says Ethereum. It says last price 3,900. I don't have that updating correctly. But over there, the information says who's the trader that called this? Pedro. The symbol, Ethereum. The reason why, liquidity level. Pedro said, I've identified a liquidity level down here. And he put a note on it. It says, need to see some demand wicks on the way down. Fewer supply wicks. Actually, don't see a lot of demand wicks there, do we?
No demand wicks at all. Like, literally at all. Wait, no, there's one. One. There's a baby one. Two. Another baby one. Three. Literally nothing. Like, literally nothing.
Well, that's a 5-minute chart. How about the hour chart? We have more of a chance at a demand wick.
No. There's literally nothing. Like I would have been like, don't take this. We're not taking this. Nope. Sorry.
Anyway,
nope.
we are long at 3,300, but that's going to 2,800
we are not.
For sure.
We are not long, like because it didn't meet the rules. This is the thing. You don't get into the trade.
You're right. It didn't meet the rules. Okay.
The rules. If it doesn't meet the rules, you don't get in.
Like it's not automatic. All right. That's right.
It is not automatic.
I
it's
have to
all
remember
predicated on the rules, because the rules is what makes you money, not the market. The rules is what keeps.
This is an excellent point.
Sorry.
Excellent point. And that's why over there, and that's why I included space for the rules. And the rules say for this trade, you need to see demand wicks. Are there demand wicks on there, Pedro? No. So as soon as we see some demand wicks, then you know, okay, reversal is coming, or is likely.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say coming.
And remember, the key point of this is we want to see it get above Look, dude, look at that. It's nuts. Look at that.
Look at that chart. That chart says this is a shit coin. That's what that chart says right there.
Dude, that's the thing, man. It's like this is nothing but just algo trading. This is all algo trading. There's not literally there's no even distribution. When was this? 30. Okay, that's money coming in. 30. Okay. Even then, that's not profit taking. They're literally just... Who is selling this? This is literally, get me out. I don't care the price. Get me out. That's what that is.
I would be interested to see the ETF outflows today.
Look at that thing is dropping even harder. It's not even barely like.
Ethereum's down 10% today. Over there on the Great Graphics machine on the TradeWave app that Pedro and I are developing, shows Ethereum at 32.75, market cap 400 billion, down 25% in market cap over the past few days. $53 billion in Ethereum traded in the past 24 hours, and that volume is up there with Bitcoin. Bitcoin trades on average like 60 to 70 billion dollars every at this point in the past 24 hours. And so a lot of money being moved to Ethereum. In fact, I'm gonna just see what Bitcoin's past 24. I bet you it's at 150. No, it's only at 92 billion, 100 billion.
Dude, the daily market and the repo market in 2022 was $2 trillion a day being traded between the banks. And now it's literally like 50 to 100 billion. I mean, what is that? That is 20x. So that'd be 20, 200. That's negative 2,000%.
But like I said, doesn't necessarily mean good or bad, because there's a lot of market conditions that build that. People hold cash, banks hold cash for various reasons, and if they have to borrow a lot, sometimes that means they're close to the reserves. People are holding cash instead of giving it to the banks. There's, it's like juggling. It's like who knows which is the good reason there. DeFi dude, you dealing with the Spanish repo market? Wonder how that works in the EU. Yeah, that's a. I'll ask my friend that works for the Bank of Canada. I'll ask. We'll have to have an old fashioned over the talk about the repo market. And that's a fun conversation for the bar. Well, Jim, how's the repo market doing? Well, we've only had $1 trillion overnight last night. Mortimer, another old fashioned, please.
Yeah, it's real. That's crazy.
I'm just on a roll today. XRP looking to go below $2 today, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at the XRP chart.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said too. I made that same face. Oof.
That's that XRP. I was thinking we were gonna hold around that.
Nope.
Who was that?
Is that the daily chart? Yeah, it's going down under the 200 moving average. It's going to close there, and it's nothing. And then next week, Brad is going to sell another $500 billion or whatever in tokens to pay for his next company acquisition. There was a good tweet out by our friend Zach Humphreys talking about Ripple and the future for it, and as we all know. Oh, Pedro, you there? Pedro?
You gotta love it. You gotta love it without fail.
It's not the Chinese. It's Brad Garlinghouse. He's like, no, bad news about XRP. I've thrown shine to XRP and Ripple for a long time, and Pedro did too. And he brought up the good point. It's like, who cares? If they're good or bad, they are making money and the token's going up. So you might as well ride with it. And when both of Pedro and I are like, yeah, that makes sense. However, people are still looking for that big move up for Ripple to $10, $50. Our friend Oscar Ramos is very bullish on this thing going to 100 over time, like BNB, pushing it up like that. The problem is that, now this is my opinion, but it's right, is that Ripple has realized they can't make any money with XRP other than like value. Like if it just goes to $50, they can make a ton of money. But in the usage of the XRP ledger, which they said was going to revolutionize the world, bring in all this money, and yada yada yada, turns out you don't make a lot of money from blockchain transactions. I mean, you can make decent money if you're a small company and you have a blockchain. You know, Aster and Hyperliquid make decent fees. They make a couple $100 million on fees and stuff like that. Sounds nice. But Ripple is a big company, Pedro, and they have big expenses, and they're buying a lot of companies. And you know what Ripple is actually doing? And when you look, I saw a list of all the companies they bought. They're turning themselves into just a large financial company, like any of the other big financial companies, in which the XRP ledger and the XRP token itself is now a very small portion of the overall Ripple business. And
that makes sense. That's how they're making their money.
You're right. What have I complained about? That Ripple does not have real cash from operations. They're solving it. I'm sure there's smart people there. They're not dumb people. I'm sure somebody said, hey, boss, we're not making any cash here. We're just spending the XRP token we keep selling. And so they said, all right, well, let's buy some companies that make money. And that's what they're doing. They've bought a lot of companies that are actually profitable. And they've bought a lot of companies that are on the edge or could contribute to the profitability of the other companies they bought. So soon they will be, they're not there yet, apparently. Soon they'll be a profitable operating company. And they're going to stop selling XRP because they're going to forget about it. It's going to be like Jim over there works in the XRP division for Ripple. Like, hey, what's Jim doing? I don't know. He's got his feet up on the desk. And that's going to be it for Ripple and for XRP. Pedro, just like you do, I occasionally get a phone call I need to take. So I'm going to take this. I'll be right back.
All right. So right now I'm still waiting for my my computer to reset here. Let's see if I can pull this up here real quick. Come on. Nice. Let's go over some news here real quick. And see what happens. So Amazon announced $38 billion partnership deal with OpenAI. I think that's gonna turn out pretty nice for them, like legit. Come on, buddy, you can do it. I know this thing can do it. Come on. Let's try it again. Get out. I do not want you to Microsoft Pro. Well, so there I was. Oh, that's such a good scene. Let's see. Let's check out some of the news.
You got a screen here?
I got no screen.
You got nothing. I've had the Bitcoin screen up here while I was
that's good.
Talking to the wife there.
Well, President Trump says China is getting very big into Bitcoin and crypto. Shocking.
Wow, there's breaking news.
What's the breaking news?
Bitcoin in China. I mean,
sorry. Dude,
I mean, it was like a week before Trump started talking about tariffs. The only news that drove Bitcoin was whether China banned it or accepted it. Like every other week was like China bans crypto, and then crypto would Bitcoin would dump. Then 2 days later, we've made it official. And then 2 weeks later, China's banned crypto.
Pretty much. I do
Pedro,
not
what exactly is going on with your internet connection?
I don't know. I really don't know.
What
I've called
kind
them
of?
up.
I mean,
The problem is like there's really no good, even Comcast. Like Comcast, where I live, another place is called Frontier Communications. Like no matter which one, bro. Like no matter which one.
they all suck.
Unless I want to run my own. All right, looks like it's.
In my building here in Ottawa, we have one of these local providers that just gives you an Ethernet cable. It's not cable. It's not cable TV. There's no packages. They just say they put you on the $50 a month plan, and you get all you want. You can up and down the same speed, whatever. My credit card expired from them about 8 months ago. Just the other day, like someone called me from the company saying, "Oh, hey Tom, it's Jim down at the internet company. Hey, your card expired." I'm like, I'm talking to a real person. I'm like, I'm thinking it's a scam call or something. They're like, your card expired. Can you go online and update it? And I said, okay, I can do it. And I went online, and I realized I'm 8 months out, so it's I'm owe them $400.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, I haven't paid my bill in 8 months, and you're just calling me? They're like, yeah, we don't get into this billing too much thing here. If you're late on your Comcast bill for like a second, they like turned off, the guys come and seize your equipment and all this type of stuff. Oh, right.
Yep. The thing is like I don't want a national utility, right? Like I don't think it should be a national utility. I think everybody's paying for it, but some of these companies, man, it's just like, dude. There's a new company coming into. Actually, it was funny because I used to be a door knocker, and I had somebody literally reach out to me on LinkedIn because I have my LinkedIn thing also as a door knocker, and they were like, "You want to come work with us? We're coming new into your area," and I was like, "I just might. Like, it just might be fun again, just to dust off the old door knocking abilities, because that's a skill set, man, that pays dividends. Like it never goes with this.
If you need your fill of that, do it every election cycle. There's all sorts of groups that'll pay you to knock on doors.
I love it, dude. I love it, man. I love
right now, Pedro. I was just watching a story earlier about the mayor race in New York with the communists.
Yeah. Oh yeah, how did that go? Yeah.
And I don't know how it went. I don't know when. I guess the election is today or something. But apparently, he has this army of people out there that are getting paid from. They're like, we don't know who's paying all these people to go knock on everyone's door and tell you how great this guy is. And the other guys are running ads saying, look, last week he was a DJ at a gay bar, and this week he's a communist mayor for New York. Yet they have this army of people out there. And I'm like, who is funding this? And to be clear, not that being a DJ at a gay bar is a bad thing. I'm just saying that last week that was his job. This week he's running for mayor. And who's paying for all that?
I mean, it could be just a bunch of gay people.
Or the Russians, or the North Koreans, or the Chinese, someone that wants to influence the elections.
Like I said,
the fact that these brain dead people are so programmed that I can only vote Democrat.
That's not going to age well at all.
Like in New York, I mean in Chicago, it's the same way. Like there's entire people that like, well, I only vote for the Democrat. Like, but the guy has no head. He's dead. And he has flies eating his body. They're like, oh, no, I still got to vote for him because he's a Democrat. I have to vote. That's how I vote. That's who I am. I identify with. And you're like, no, the guy has flies eating him. He's dead. No, I'll still vote for him. Same in New York. I don't understand how they elected Rudy Giuliani, 30 years ago. He was Republican. And I realized that, in New York, Republicans are just Democrat lights. But still. I don't understand.
Oh, snaps. I just have this. I don't know what is going on, but it just. I'm gonna have to shut this whole entire thing off.
Hey, Pedro, you remember how the time I told you how to open a command window and to ping something? Let's see if you can.
No, it's literally I can't even get it to open up
Zero.
command anymore. It's literally just dead.
Bye-bye, computer.
I mean, I just got to restart it. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin on my screen here behind me while Pedro does that. There's two numbers up here, two words and lines up here on the screen here that I like to put on my chart as a new guy trying to track things. If you look at Pedro's chart, he's got like 73 lines because he understands them all. I don't understand them all, and I get all confused. Like, there's 73 lines. I have the weekly open here and the monthly open. So there's November open up there and weekly open here. Those are two numbers that I always like to have just at sight that I can understand to see where we are in the great scheme of things for the month that we're tracking. November just opened here, and as you've heard me speak about the past couple of months, I've been trying to teach myself how to understand longer time frames or in how they actually drive the shorter time frames. So keeping the November open here and the weekly open kind of on my screen all the time, I understand where we're doing it because as Pedro recently taught me, or he's been teaching me for years, but as I recently only understood on how candles are created and how they need to be created every time frame that you look at, we're trading well below the November open and the weekly open. And in both cases, the November open opened and then only went up a little bit above it before coming down a lot. Same with the weekly open. The week opened and basically went down from it. That means at some point, it's likely, not guaranteed, we'll do the old this is education, not financial advice routine. At some point, it's likely to trade above that and create, an actual candle with a supply wick, demand wick, and a body. And so keeping these things on your charts, and I have these vertical lines to just represent the days of the week so I can see where we are in the week. It makes for a good visual understanding of where we are. So you can just get that idea like, yeah, we're going down. Down, 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 down. But it's likely in one of these time frames here that we're going to return to this number and trade above it because that's what most candles do in these time frames. They form the whole thing. And so while my chart doesn't have a lot of stuff on it saying like, buy here and get rich, what it does, it just gives you a kind of visual indicators of where we are in the week, because the week's very important for Bitcoin, where we are in the month, because the month is very important for Bitcoin. And trading on those larger time frames keeps your heart rate down. If you trade on that minute chart, your heart rate is boom, 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 boom. Hey, gonna make money, gonna lose money, gonna make money, gonna lose money, gonna make money, lose money. And on the weekly and monthly charts, you can look at it and go, I'll check in again at dinner time and see how things are going there, Jim. So if you're wondering how my chart is set up here, that's the basics of it. I put the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on it, and then I keep the weekly open and the monthly open kind of handy so I can see where we are and where we are likely to go. And that is what, if you see me with the arrow saying this is how the month is going to go, I take all this information that the chart shows, Pedro talks about, and distill that down into where that's going. So later when we do a little premium episode saying how the month is going to go, you can bet that the beginning of the month is down. So what is that going to bet be for the end of the month? That it's going up. And if it's going to go up at the end of the month, like the last week, if it's going to go up, that means the week before it is likely to go down. Right. And so we just got 3 of the weeks of the 4 of November handled. Got it all figured out. See? Boop, just like that.
just like that.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Oh, yep. Here we go. And is that going to work?
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's we are at the end of the show here. Pedro's internet connection is dead, and I've been on a roll today with too much caffeine, so I've used all the words I need to use today.
It actually looks like it's coming alive. It's alive. It's alive. Let's see here real quick. Will it pull up? Yeah. That was quick. What? Sometimes your computer says,
Pedro, let's
"Shut me
promote you for a bit here. You mentioned yesterday that you were going to be on someone's podcast. Are you going to be on a podcast coming up or someone else's show here?
Yep. So I'm going to be on Bitcoin.com.
Our friends at Bitcoin.com run a daily show in which they talk about things. They record vignettes and stories and publish them all the time. Then they also have a live show or two now and then here. And as I'm pointing at their logo on our screen, because if they happen to be watching, we would love for you guys to sponsor us right here. And I'm showing you how you can get your name out to our 15 viewers. That's right. But Pedro, what are you going to be on the show for? When's it going to be? When should everyone tune in?
Yeah, so we're going. It should be Friday. I believe around 11 o'clock. I think it's going to be 9 o'clock East Coast time. 9 o'clock in the evening. Because I believe they're in Asia.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what time it is for them, but it's like mid-afternoonish, I believe. So for us, I'm going to have to be like up. Well, I guess it's not that late, it's like a little time. We'll probably go about 2 hours. And I'm just going to basically be talking about how right now, like I was hoping to get on to it last week because I was we were talking about the sell-off coming in. And so, like I said, I wanted to talk to him about how I view the world, and that we're about to. And I'm so mad because, like it would have fit perfect with, hey, so we're about to have a sell-off, and this is where it's going to come down to. So this is where I want you guys buying, and I would have looked like a genius. I mean, especially on
Pedro Damas would have been in the house anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Pedro's internet connection died again. But anyway, it's the end of the show here. It's been a good Tuesday. We didn't do the full technical Tuesday, but we definitely kept you entertained today. Thanks for everybody's watching. We had a good crew today that tuned in.
Can you hear me?
Of course we can hear you, Pedro.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I didn't. Can you see me?
No, I have your camera off for good reason. Anyway, welcome to Baby Draco for joining the show at the time that we close. It's time to close the show, Draco. Hey, Zeus, go find out what's going on in Peru and tell us what's going on there. It's a mess down there again. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you today. We'll be back tomorrow with the Wednesday activities of this show, otherwise known as Covering Bitcoin. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.